Hello once again, this is Ifya Jimfua Ankara, and today we are on our series 2 of the number one connection between language, dialect, and culture that we've started. On our last episode, we spoke of language, which is the number one element that we discussed intently. And what did if you recall, I told you what language does to a particular group of people. In case you've forgotten, let's do a quick recap. In my understanding, language is a form of a vital tool for passing on cultural practices and beliefs from one generation to another. Language is a form of a vital tool that we use to pass on a cultural, generational essentiality from one particular group of generation to another. So what does that mean? You ask yourself, what does that got to do with me? Well, that makes you who you are. That makes all of us who we are. Therefore, when people speak their native language, they are more likely to retain cultural practices, customs, laws, beliefs, rituals, and anything that conveys that particular group of culture or people identity. So when you lose that language, in a sense, you are losing your culture, you are losing your belief, you are losing your rituals, you are losing your inner core of who you are. So, in a nutshell, on our first episode, our first series, we spoke about language. On this second episode, we are speaking into dialect. We are speaking about dialect. So then you ask, what is the difference between language and dialect? So language is the upper umbrella. It's like a pyramid, right? Invented pyramid. So language is the bigger picture for a particular group of people. Now we are descending down to dialect. So what is dialect? From my research, dialect is a particular form of language which is peculiar to a specific region or social group. Dialect is a particular form of language which is peculiar to a specific region or social group. So, in a sense, as a means of communicating values, beliefs, customs, it has an important social function and it fosters feelings of group identity and solidarity. Dialect fosters values, beliefs, customs. It is the core of a social function, and it also enhances solidarity, particularly for that particular group of people. It also means that by which culture and its tradition shared values may be conveyed and preserved. When you speak a particular dialect, not language, dialect, you are more prone to value a culture, its tradition, shared values that are preserved and conveyed. It's sacred. It's very sacred. When you talk about a particular group of people, like the American Indians, they have different segments of tribes, and they hold on to each tribe so dearly. That is their identity. That is who they are. And they will not infringe or even think of swaying into that particular or a different type of tribe. That's who they are. Now let's speak more about the Hindus and the Hindis. Most people consider these people mutually intelligible. So are the Bosnians, the Croatians, the Slovenians, and Serbians. Swedish, the Norwegians are very mutually intelligible people. Why do these people claim to speak different languages then? Because they are all from the same region. Because they do not want to be associated with one another. And they will make that clear to you. Now let's step a little further into another particular group of culture. On the other hand, when we talk about the Moroccans, people from Morocco, the Iraqis can't really understand one another at all, but insist that they are all speaking Arabic. Have you thought about that? People from Morocco, people from Iraq, they all speak Arabic. Yet when one particular group of people speak, an Iranian will tell you they do not understand what a Moroccan person is saying. Why do they say that? Because they want to be identified by themselves. They do not want you to be confused with one another. That is the essence of dialect, which drill into the umbilical connection to a particular group of people. What dialect do you speak? We're not talking about language. We've already talked about language. That is the big umbrella. Now we step down a little bit more. What dialect do you speak? The more you deviate from your dialect, the more you will deviate from your culture, your traditions, your values, your identity, and the core essence of who you are as an individual. So today, as we complete and conclude our number one reason and the connection between language, dialect, and tradition, I want you to understand that there is a distinction between a language, dialect, and culture. Whilst dialect is intricately connected to culture, do not take your dialect for granted. In as much as you want to purge yourself from who you are as an individual, Your umbilical cord came from someone, and that person's umbilical cord came from someone else. And when we trace that long umbilical cord, it will take you back to your roots. Learn your dialect, hold on to your beliefs, hold on to your traditions, hold on to your culture. Because no matter how much a zebra tries to get rid of its stripes, whenever it gives birth, it will give birth to a zebra. This is Efia for Ankara. Join us as we talk about culture in our next episode of culture, dialect, and language. Talk to you soon.